Hey everyone, well in this video I'm doing something a little different again. Today is service time on my old Case 580K backhoe here. Got the hood open and well, doing an oil change on it. Went ahead and drained out what I had here, or the old oil. Gonna go ahead and put my drain plug back in there right away, and then gonna swap out the filter. On these little these old 580Ks, on these they had the Cummins B3.9 four-cylinder in them. I guess it was more commonly known at the time as a CDC diesel, the cooperative deal that Cummins and Case had together. They're building engines and sticking them in all the Case equipment, so they were called CDC, but they were still the Cummins B3.9. These had you're supposed to run a mini stub filter on them, but I'm going to see here, I don't have any of those left. What I have is the regular standard long filter, and I've checked and I do believe it will fit just fine. Nothing wrong with using a longer filter. You just get an extra half a quart or a quart of little extra capacity, a little extra filtration. So in case you're wondering what all the chicken noise is, I have a chicken supervisor here that's following me around here. She's keeping a close eye on me today. Her and a couple of her buddies like to fly over the gate of their outside pen here and come and pay me a visit while I'm working on equipment. So anyways, I have some chicken company here today. Go ahead and get my drain plug back in. Oh, come on. This one is a little bit, my plug is a little bit chewed up here on this. It was like that when I got it. I went ahead and cleaned up the edges of it earlier there with my little Dremel there before I took and pulled the plug out to drain. People use the wrong size wrenches. It's actually, I believe, a metric of all things. Somebody put a metric plug in there at one time, maybe. I don't know. But anyway, 17 millimeter. Tried using a couple standards, either way too small or way too big. So cleaned up the edges a little bit of it there. And now, any of you that have watched my channel for any length of time, many of you know that I'm a long-time lover of classic and vintage tools, quality tools anyways, for the most part. A little bit of Grandpa's set left. Have most of my dad's set, and unfortunately he borrowed some of it out to some mechanic friends of his and stuff over the years. Certain pieces and stuff disappeared, never came back. And he never did have certain wrenches he talked about he was wanting to buy and add to his set, but he never got around to it. And as you all know, responsibilities with family and stuff come along, and there isn't money for it, so he made do with what he had. Although he did have a pretty good selection of tools, but he didn't have everything, as most of us that do mechanicking never do. So anyways, recently I added one of these old SK roto ratchets. Found this. This one's in good shape. The mechanicals are all tight and right, so to speak. Very handy with the rotating head. You can angle off any direction. Kind of a neat vintage tool. Something my dad never had was much metric in his most of his stuff at the time when he was mechanicking was all SAE socket sets from 1/4 inch all the way up to the big 3/4 inch drive. But he never had much of anything for metric. He never got to adding it. So recently I started picking up some vintage SK metric stuff that's of the same, basically, same era as his SAEs. And I've gone ahead and added some of these to my growing collection of tools. And, well, I still like using this stuff. I reach for the old classic vintage tools before the newer stuff. I don't have any big name brand other names like Snap-on or Mac. Like some of their stuff, but don't like Snap-on's prices. Nothing against them, but for heavy industrial stuff, for doing work on equipment like this, I I still like my old SK tools. Don't know why, just do. It's kind of, you know, been in the family a long time, and I'm kind of stuck with it, and I've sort of fleshing out the set with a few extras here and there with some of the specialty stuff that Dad talked about that he never got, so now I'm kind of adding it into my collection of the total, and I'm just glad I get to use some of this vintage tools, or I enjoy it, and it's enjoyable for me to work with this stuff. So anyways, going to continue on here. I got to go ahead and pop that filter off right away, and we'll get the other one on there, and then I got to refill it with fresh oil, and I'll show you what I run for diesel oil in this particular tractor. Not all my tractors, but in this one anyways. So I decided to go ahead and stick my drain pail back under here, and I go and pull this filter off here. I went ahead and loosened it up already, but anyways, I'm trying not to make a total mess here. But you never know. Sometimes these things will come off nice and clean, and there's no issue, and then the next time they'll glug all over the place, and you end up with a... Boy, they got a lot of threads on here. Okay, we're coming to the end here. And you'll slaughter and slosh oil all over. Nope. We are good. There we go. Dump out as much as I can. And go ahead and get the new filter ready, and we're going to spin that on right away. Now, before any of you eco-conscious viewers out there get a little too excited, if you're wondering what I do with my old filters and oil, doing oil changes and all this different equipment I have, well, my local municipal garbage dump here has an oil collection and filter recycling depot where you can, well, they got a big storage tank where you can drop your used motor oil, and they've got barrels that they seal after that they are full of used filters, and it all gets sent off to a local regional recycler here that takes care of that. So okay, some of you want to know, this is what I'm using for oil in here. It's Rotella, Shell Rotella T6 synthetic. It's a 0W40. Only reason I use 0W40 in this is because it's an all season, and this backhoe gets used a lot in the winter months. Spring and fall, a little bit in the summer when I'm busy with the other farm equipment, haying and stuff, and I don't have time to run the backhoe much. So I don't use this tractor an extreme amount, so my oil changes end up dragging from one season into the next, so that's why I just use kind of a one oil for all seasons. Some of you probably have an objection to that, but that's what I do, because normally I'd run 1540 summer months in all my other tractors, but in the winter time here it gets extreme. The temperatures can drop into the minus 30-40 degrees Celsius range, so you can't run 1540 oil in those kind of temperatures. It just you burn up an engine. So the 0W40 has been working for me in this kind of an application. So like I say, that's what I run in this old girl, because it's kind of a year-round oil. So if my oil changes hours happen to fall into need being done in December or July, or whenever I'm changing oil, whenever the hours hit a certain time mark, that's when I change it, and well, that's what I use, because then it doesn't matter. To me, it's universal year-round. I don't run it in all my other diesels because it's just too expensive. This stuff is silly expensive now. Like I say, I still run 1540 in all my other farm tractors and stuff that get run during the warmer seasons. So, but anyways, that's what I use. I also do something that many of you will probably find an objection to, or objectionable, and that's me pre-filling my filters. I take oil from my 5-gallon can and pour it into a gallon container. Rotella in this jug, just this was a 0W40 originally in this as well, but it was from like a local farmers cooperative, but I haven't been buying their oil lately because it's just their price is worse than the Shell stuff. So yes, here we go. I Pre-fill my filter. You say, well, you get dirt in it. Well, if you got a clean container and you're taking clean oil out of a clean jug and you're pouring clean oil out of a clean pail into a clean container. I don't have a whole bunch of sand and dirt and whatever. I am careful to keep everything wiped off and clean. Yes, I'm doing my oil change outside, but I didn't do it yesterday in a windstorm because there was dust flying around. Today it's quiet out, there's no wind. And I don't roll my filter and my oil containers around in the dirt, so I at least fill them half full. This one's 3/4 full. And I'm going to go ahead and install it here right away. I don't know what you're going to see other than probably just the back side of me here, but yes, I prelude my gasket with a little bit of drop of clean fresh oil on the end of my finger, smeared it around. And this filter fits in here just fine. I had a Hastings filter that I took off. I've used Baldwin Hastings for many years, but where I was getting my Hastings filters from, the distributor went out of business, so I can't get filters from that retail anymore space, so I just happened to get a Fleet Guard Cummins filter. It's for a 5.9, but it also fits on the 3.9. It's the same filter base and everything, and it fits in here just fine. I can put 2 fingers in there, so these engines are bolted down in here anyways. They're not going to be walking around anywhere, so there you go. So the long filter will fit in these applications on these 580K cases, at least on mine anyways. So it'll be happier that it has more filtering capacity and a little more oil capacity. Well, there we go. I just finished adding a bunch of oil. As you can see, it's a pretty tight spot here to get in here to this is the fill whatever you want to call it, tube here. Now luckily it's got a fairly big throat for doing that, but now some of you are going to say, well, why didn't you lift the loader up out of the way, because they do have a safety lock there. You can drop down on the cylinder when the loader is right up in the air. But I've done it many times in the past, and unfortunately you got your throttle rod, you've got fuel injection lines, everything in the way. So if you're pouring with a gallon jug or anything bigger than a quart bottle, you basically can hardly get in here. Even with the loader up in the air, it's still hard to, you can't tip the jug, you're up against everything. So I just go from over here, literally from this side, and from way up top here, do the old Chinese T-pour. So one of the best things with those things is don't delay or don't stop when you start, because then you'll slobber and smear and puke oil all over everything. So when you go, you got to commit, and you just pour and line up for the hole. And well, I've done many oil changes in this tractor over the years, and that's the best method that I've come up with so far. So yes, my engine is getting kind of dirty and grungy. I got to do a pressure wash on it here later this spring here. I always do every late spring, early summer. I go over it and wash out the engine compartment. Right now I've been loading a lot of compost, so there's a lot of dust and stuff that gets sucked in, so everything gets coated, and it's just best to wait until I'm done with all that kind of stuff, and then when I'm finished, then I give at the end of the spring gardening season, when all my customers come and get compost here on the farm, then I go ahead and give this thing give it a bath with the pressure washer and clean up everything, and good again for another season. But there we go, oil change done, and now I'm just going to go ahead and grease up some of my bucket pins and stuff here for the next little bit here of work that I'm going to be doing, and keep the old girl going. Next thing on the list is I've got some new Picked up some new LED lights. I put one set on here a couple of years ago, and my old original factory halogen lights are finally giving it up. Lenses are falling out, and I got two new ones for the front and the back. I still have all halogens on there, and I got four brand new ones that I'm going to be putting on the back of there. So maybe I'll show you some of that there when I get into changing that out. I don't know, we'll see. But anyways, yeah, the old machine is serviced and fresh oil, and keep it going for a little while yet. Well, there we go. The old 580K case backhoe lives another day. Got another oil change, and we'll keep on keeping on. So just like to say thanks everybody for stopping by and checking out another one of my videos, and we'll see you all in the next one. So much for Waylon and Willie singing about letting your babies grow up to be doctors and lawyers and such, and here I am, a tractor cowboy pumping grease.